Welcome to the July 2026 Prehistoric Kingdom Dev Diary. A week before the diary, they released a survey to the players to gather feedback. They were hoping for 1,000 answers. They ended up with 4,000 by the end of the day. They were able to gather a lot of useful info. My favorite part is that the devs found that players want temperature to play a part in the game. I'm one of those people. I even specifically mentioned wanting shade to function as guest comfort during the summer months, or shade for when it's raining, cause visiting a zoo when it's raining is no fun. They have these pieces built into the game, might as well use them. They'll also probably release another survey after Update 18 is out. Update 17.1 patch is coming. It includes various tweaks and bug fixes. The best addition is highlighting animals and renaming enclosures. You don't know how long I've been wanting this feature. It just makes things easier to track instead of figuring out where enclosure 101 is or whatever. And as a thank you for the support for Update 17, here's a tease of more partner animations coming in 17.1. This update is coming in August. Some of the animals already have multiple partner animations. I imagine all the animals will have multiple partner animations once the game is complete. Looking ahead to Update 18, here is a taste of what to expect. This update will be the last major update until full release. I still feel a little sad to see it end. It's a very stupid thing to be sad about since the game will be complete. This is why I play early access, because I can't wait for the final product. The final pieces of the gameplay would include security, engineers, and breakouts in challenge mode. The team is still busy with Update 17.1, so we're only getting a small sample of what's to come in Update 18. First of all, they're improving the management view to make things easier to see. For example, you can check animal hunger. They're color-coded so you can instantly see how hungry they are. Or here, you can tell which animals are pregnant and where the nests are located and which ones are taken. This is excellent and well thought out. It's so easy to understand. They're also improving the existing navigation menus. It's all in one button now. This is one of the menus I don't use too often, but it's nice that they're willing to polish everything no matter how small. This next change is also pretty exciting. The current way of meeting an animal's exhibit requirement is very one-dimensional, what I like to call connect the dots gameplay. For example, you see the game says this habitat needs 50% plant coverage, you place enough plants until it meets that percentage requirement. You don't need to think. If you can read, you can do it. They want us to think more with their new system and also properly express what kind of environment these animals lived in. They're introducing 4 nature types that you'll have to balance. These nature types are forests, shrubs, plains, and barren. You can see them in this mock-up here. This empty enclosure is considered plains because it's covered entirely by grass. You add a few bushes, and now it's 75% plains and 25% shrubs. If you add some trees, it's now 25% forest, 25% shrubs, and 50% plains. If you plant trees over your shrubs, it overrides the shrubs and becomes a forest. You can see the shrubs are now 0% even though they're still there. Bigger foliage will override the smaller ones. If you want the area to become barren, you can also use the terrain textures to change the nature type. Like here, you'll see the simple dirt texture painted over the grass. It used to be that textures were just for looks. Now they've become an important factor in the habitat. The texture caused the game to recognize it as 25% barren. And of course, if you don't want to use the grass texture, you can use the ferns and grass-like foliage to create the same kind of effect. It's not super complex, but I like that it discourages you from just blindly painting until it hits the right percentage. They're also changing how water requirements are calculated. It's now calculated by square meters instead of a percentage. I'm guessing how deep your pond is will factor into it. With the current system, if I increase the size of my enclosure, I also have to add more water to meet that percentage. This is a very good change. I've run into issues where I couldn't create my Dinosaur exhibit the way I wanted because I always have to keep my water percentage high relative to my enclosure size. As for aquascape, this is just a fancy way of saying you need to add plants into your rivers and ponds to make your Spinosaurus and Baryonyx happy. It functions just like land foliage. The wetland biome is also coming. It'll come with over 40 new plants. Some are updates to existing plants, others are brand new wetland plants. This is the last map, and it should cover the needs of all the prehistoric life in the game. I wonder what country this map is set in. They're also replacing the wet sand texture with a wet ground texture. This is perfect. It makes the ground look wet without using the water tool. The wet sand texture was kind of hard to distinguish from the mud texture. I'm already thinking about using this new texture to connect my river to a waterfall. This will make it look more realistic instead of always having to hide where the water gets cut off by the terrain with a bunch of rocks. Finally, the reward for hitting the survey goal is the reveal of a new animal, the giant ground sloth, Megatherium. It's one of my favorite prehistoric mammals. The game will have several skins, each with different fur lengths. The design we see now is the shortest length. I'm glad we're getting a decent roster of Cenozoic mammals, but I would love to see some prehistoric mammals that lived with dinosaurs, maybe as vivarium exhibits. And we've reached the end of another diary. Here's the obligatory shout out to their Patreon. This game wouldn't have been possible without it. The project was in serious trouble in late 2024, and it's due to Patreon supporters that it was able to get this far. I know people are always requesting prehistoric flyers and prehistoric sea creatures. I'm sure with enough Patreon support, it can happen. Every little bit helps. It's closing time for the Dinosaur Arcade. I'll see you next time.